As for the one who seeks, let him continue to seek until he finds. When he finds, he will become troubled. When he becomes troubled, he will be astonished, and he will rule over the all. Gospel of Thomas, verse 2. Happy Sunday, everyone, and Happy New Year. I'm your Christian Heretic with another episode of I Have Questions, namely Satan versus man. All my life, I can remember Satan has wanted me dead and my soul to burn for all eternity. But I never understood or never ran into anyone who could answer any of my childhood questions. What does Satan have against me? And how would I know his tricks? But most importantly, why would a loving God allow such an ominous supervillain to exist to torment his children? I understood that, when I was a child, I was supposed to be afraid of him, but I never understood how to protect or defend myself against him. When I began reading the Bible for myself, I expected Lucifer/Satan to have a bigger part in the Bible, since he had such a huge part in my church experience. Now, overcoming such an adversary in any struggle begins with understanding one's adversary. And for the purposes of this episode, I will make one distinction with regard to Lucifer/Satan. Prior to being cast out of heaven, I will refer to him as Lucifer. After being cast out, Satan. Now let's see what the Bible has to say about Lucifer. We go here to Isaiah 14. Isaiah chapter 14. Thou art fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning. How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nation? For thou hast in thy heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. It's Isaiah chapter 14, verses 12 and 13. As these are the only verses that refer to Lucifer, my first question is, to what circumstance is Isaiah referring? And how did he come about this information? Now, we learn from the Haggadah that Isaiah was talking about the aftermath of a competition between Lucifer and Adam. And Lucifer, the greatest of the angels in heaven, with 12 wings instead of 6 like the others, refused to pay heed to the behest of God. Lucifer demanded a trial of wit with Adam, and God assented thereto, saying, I have created beasts, birds, reptiles, and I have given names unto them. And I shall command Adam, I shall bring them before you and before Adam. If you are able to give the names, I shall command Adam to show honor unto you. But if not, and Adam calls them by the names I have assigned to them, then you will be subject to Adam. Fall of Satan, the Haggadah. Now, this is referencing a direct competition that is listed in Genesis chapter 2, verse 19, where Adam actually gives the names of the animals. Lucifer loses this competition and still would not hold to the agreement. Nevertheless, he broke out in a wild outcry that reached the heavens, and he refused to do homage as he had been bidden. Michael addressed Lucifer, give adoration to the image of God, but if you do not, then the Lord will break out in wrath against you. Lucifer replied, if he breaks out in wrath against me, I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will be like the Most High. At once, God flung Lucifer out of his host, out of heaven, down to the earth. and from that moment dates the enmity between Satan and man. Haggadah, fall of Satan. Now, I've run into several texts that imply that Lucifer was expecting to inherit, and that might be this primary issue. For instance, this excerpt from the first book of Adam and Eve. But when they came to the mountain to the north of the garden, a very high mountain without any steps to the top of it, the devil drew near to Adam and Eve and made them go up to the top in reality, not in a vision, wishing, as he did, to throw them down and kill them, and wipe them off of and wipe their names from the earth, so the earth should remain to him and his hosts alone. First book of Adam and Eve, chapter 28, verse 10. Now, this text, the first book of Adam and Eve, chronicles events between Adam and Satan between Genesis chapter 3 and Genesis chapter 4. In this book, we learn that Satan uses many tricks in order to fool Adam into following him and lead him to his death. Here's what Adam had to say about Satan after one of several encounters. And Adam stood up and prayed to God with a burning heart and said, "O Lord, is there in the world another God besides you, who created angels and filled them with light, and sent them to keep us who would come with them? But look, we see these hosts that stand at the mouth of the cave. They are in a great light. They sing loud praises. If they are of some other God than you, tell me. And if they are sent by you, inform me of the reason for which you have sent them." First book of Adam and Eve, chapter 27, verses 9 through 11. Now, this book is fascinating work, and it chronicles the diligence and creativity that Satan has in his pretenses. But why would God allow this creature to exist? Again, we keep reading in the first book of Adam and Eve. "Thus you have transgressed my commandment, and therefore I have brought on you all these sorrows. For I am God the Creator, who, when I created my creatures, did not intend to destroy them. But after they sorely roused my anger, I punished them with grievous plagues until they repent. But if, on the contrary, they still continue hardened in their transgression, they shall be under a curse forever." First book of Adam and Eve, chapter 6, verses 8 through 10. I never seem to forget that God created the visible out of the invisible and created existence from non-existence. I do, however, sometimes forget that that creation includes Satan, not just as a being that hates mankind, but also as someone who was very high in the celestial hierarchy and one of God's own children. With that in mind, we still need to keep our guard up, because what is there after sin but death? Always, this is your Christian Heretic reminding you of Proverbs 25:2. "It is the glory of God to conceal a thing, but the honor of kings is to search out the matter." Please go on ahead and leave your comments below. Subscribe to the channel, +1, like it, but most importantly, share this information, because like I always say, the more we talk about things, the harder it is to keep them a secret. I highly recommend checking out or Googling the first and second book of Adam and Eve and reading them alongside literally what's going on in the Bible. Chapter 3 in Genesis ends with Adam and Eve being expelled from the Garden of Eden. Chapter 4, verse 1 begins with the conception of Cain and Abel. The first book of Adam and Eve, the majority of it takes place after the expulsion from the Garden of Eden and before Cain and Abel's birth. Look forward to seeing all of you again next week. Please keep me in mind. Please leave your comments. I do read those. In the meantime, have a great week, and I look forward to seeing you all again. Your Christian Heretic.